Tracy tells Abi straight that she's tired of being drip-fed cash and demands the rest of her payment immediately. When Abi fills Carl in, he insists he'll hand over £500 and considers the issue settled. However, Tracy quickly reminds him that she's the one pulling the strings, and Abi warns that maybe it's time Kevin learns about their fling. Carl refuses to entertain the idea and instead proposes they test whether Tracy is bluffing. Will Tracy spill the truth? And how will she respond when a masked intruder wrecks the flower shop? At the same time, Theo admits to Todd that the court battle is stressing him out, and if Danielle noticed the condition of their flat, she'd rule it unfit for the children. After Theo leaves, Billy, George, and Brian come over to help Todd tidy the place. Near the finish, they tuck into some snacks and move to the music. When Theo walks back in and sees the atmosphere, what will his response be? Meanwhile, Roy finds Becky inside number 6, and though she pretends to be one of Lisa's workmates, he isn't fooled. He recognizes her as Becky Swain and recalls spotting her at the hospital. Lisa steps in to explain. Feeling wounded by Carla's deception, Roy makes it clear how betrayed he feels before storming out. Lisa appeals to Roy on Carla's behalf, insisting lying was never Carla's intention. She only did it to shield herself and Betsy. Elsewhere, Tyrone tells Evelyn he might be sidelined for months and is anxious about the pressure it will put on Fizz. All Coronation Street spoilers for next week as criminals cover their tracks. After a whirlwind week on Coronation Street, which saw Becky Swain resurface from the grave and Tyrone Dobbs struck down in a shocking hit-and-run, the drama only escalates in the coming episodes. While Brody Michaelis and Dylan Wilson scramble to conceal their role in the stolen vehicle, Carl Webster finds himself cornered as Tracy Barlow demands the remainder of her payoff for keeping quiet. Tyrone's health takes a worrying dip, leaving Fizz terrified that his injuries might cause lasting damage. At the same time, Lisa Swain is left shaken by the bombshell that her supposedly dead wife is alive after all, and desperate to reconnect with her daughter Betsy. Lisa pushes D.I. Costello for the truth, but will he finally give her the answers she's been seeking? Meanwhile, Theo Silverton braces himself for a custody battle, but Todd Grimshaw soon senses fresh complications on the horizon. Brody swears to Kit Green that neither he nor Dylan were involved in the collision, claiming he was in the middle of a seizure when it occurred. He later reminds Carl that they abandoned the vehicle before rushing to the hospital, only to discover it was missing when Carl returned, implying someone else drove it into Tyrone. At the police station, Jess questions Dylan, who says he was at the hospital at the time. Will this be enough to clear his name? Di Costello warns Becky to stay under the radar, or they could both end up behind bars. Fueled with anger, Lisa storms into the station to confront her superior, but he refuses to discuss it. Kit quietly warns Carla Connor that Costello isn't to be trusted and urges caution. When Carla admits that Becky is alive and has come back, Kit is floored. Lisa then bursts into Costello's office, insisting he reveal everything about Becky's staged death, or she'll take the scandal to the press. At the hospital, Tyrone regains consciousness, distressed as he tells Fizz he can't feel his legs and begs her to fetch a doctor. As Todd and Theo settle into the corner shop flat, George Shuttleworth pops by with some beers. Todd invites him to stay for one, though Theo is clearly displeased. Carla pressures Lisa to come clean with Betsy about Becky, warning that hiding the truth will only hurt her further. When Lisa refuses, Carla calls Becky in. Becky, in tears, pleads with Lisa to let her see their child. Carla urges Lisa to do what's right, but Lisa declares she won't cause Betsy more heartache. Resigned, Carla tells Becky to walk away. At the precinct, Becky secretly watches Betsy chatting with Ryan Connor. Will she risk everything by reaching out? Elsewhere, Kit cautions Carl that he'll be watching his every move. Abi Webster quietly shares her suspicions with Carl that the car that struck Tyrone might have belonged to Fiona. Carl brushes her off, then meets Fiona to admit he had to torch the car. But when Kit arrives and spots Carl with a known criminal, has his cover been blown? Tracy smugly reminds Carl that her next installment is due and warns that if he doesn't pay up, she'll spill to Kevin Webster about their fling. From the hospital, Fizz rings home to share an update on Tyrone's surgery. After leaving his custody meeting, Theo promises himself he'll stop at nothing to gain proper rights to see his children. Tracy bluntly tells Abi that she's done with piecemeal payments and insists on the full sum immediately. When Abi passes the message on, Carl declares he'll hand over £500 and put the matter to rest. But when Tracy points out that she's the one in charge, Abi suggests perhaps Kevin deserves to know the truth. Carl refuses outright and instead proposes testing whether Tracy is bluffing. Will she expose them? Later, when Tracy stumbles across the flower shop being ransacked by a masked intruder, how will she handle it? Elsewhere, Theo admits to Todd that he's anxious about the custody battle, fearing Danielle Silverton would judge their messy flat as unfit for the kids. After he leaves, Billy, George, and Brian rally around Todd to help tidy up. Near the finish, they crack open snacks and dance along to some music. Theo walks back in and takes in the scene. What will his reaction be? Meanwhile, Roy Cropper catches Becky inside number 6. Though she claims to be one of Lisa's colleagues, Roy isn't fooled and says he knows she's Becky Swain, recalling seeing her at the hospital. Lisa steps in to explain everything. Hurt by Carla's deception, Roy makes it clear how badly her lies have cut him before storming out. Lisa tries to defend Carla, insisting that deceit was never her goal. She only lied to shield herself and Betsy. Elsewhere, Tyrone opens up to Evelyn Plummer, worrying that he could be off his feet for months and fretting about the added pressure on Fizz. Coronation Street spoiler. Carla and Lisa clash over Becky's devastating secret. Carla urges Lisa to come clean to Betsy about Becky, warning that hiding the truth will only make the heartbreak worse when she eventually finds out. But Lisa flatly refuses, prompting Carla to call Becky over. In tears, Becky pleads with Lisa to let her see their daughter. Carla hopes Lisa will finally relent, but Lisa firmly tells Becky she won't risk causing Betsy further pain. Left with no choice, Carla sends Becky away. Later, Becky lingers in the precinct and spots Betsy chatting with Ryan. Will she risk everything by breaking cover to approach her child? At the same time, Kit makes it clear to Carl that he'll be watching him closely. Abi confides her worries about the car involved in Tyrone's accident, suggesting it might have belonged to Fiona. Carl brushes her off, then later meets with Fiona, admitting he had to burn the vehicle. But when Kit shows up and demands to know why Carl is associating with a known criminal, has Carl's luck finally run out? Meanwhile, Tracy enjoys reminding Carl that his next payment is due, and warns that if he doesn't pay up, she'll reveal his affair with Abi to Kevin. Elsewhere, Todd tells Theo he can't attend his meeting with Dee Dee about custody arrangements because of work commitments. Furious, Theo struggles to contain his temper and vows to do whatever it takes to gain access to his children. Also, Fizz phones home from the hospital with the latest news about Tyrone's surgery. Coronation Street continues on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1, with episodes also available on ITVX and YouTube.